I'm a judge on the Court of Appeals, a circuit judge for the Seventh Circuit. And in this country, we have really two court systems. We have a state court system and a federal system. I'm a federal judge. And what that means is we are appointed by the President of the United States and confirmed by the Senate. So if you look at the tapes or the films, or you read about Justice Sonia Sotomayor or Justice Elena Kagan, who recently were appointed by the court, we are nominated by the President. Then we have to go before the Senate Judiciary Committee. It's a group of senators. They listen to our testimony. We have to fill out lengthy forms about our legal careers, what we did as lawyers, all of our experience, the lawyers that we tried cases against, any teaching experience, our speeches, talks that we've given. All this information is filed before the Senate Judiciary Committee, and then the committee listens to your testimony, and the committee has to vote. And if you get a majority of the votes, then you go to the full Senate floor. And the U.S. Senate is made up of 100 senators. So I started out, now I'm on the U.S. Court of Appeals, an appellate judge, but I started out as a district judge, a trial judge. So the difference between a United States district judge and a Court of Appeals judge is that we actually try the cases when we're in the district court. So an example would be a sex discrimination case. You could file a sex discrimination case in federal court because there are laws that prevent sexual discrimination. And as a U.S. District Court judge, I would hear that case. If you elected to have a jury, the jurors would hear the case. I'd be the judge that presided in that case. And so we're basically trial judges. Then, after a trial is over, if you felt that the judge made a mistake or one of the lawyers made a mistake during the trial, and it was a significant mistake, a big mistake that affected how the case came out, like the judge let some evidence in, some testimony in that shouldn't have been let in, you can appeal that decision up to the Court of Appeals. So whoever loses in the trial court can file an appeal in the Court of Appeals, and then instead of one judge hearing the case, 3 judges hear the case. And 2 of the 3 judges have to agree, yes, there was a big mistake made and this case needs to go back to the trial court, or no mistakes were made, or if any mistakes were made, there were little mistakes, and so what happened in the trial court stands. And then the final place you can go, if you're unhappy with what we decide, is to the United States Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. And then the 9 justices have to decide whether they will hear the case. In our federal system, there are more than 50,000 appeals filed across the country every year, but the Supreme Court only takes about 80 cases. So for most people who appear in our court, we're the last. The buck sort of stops with us. We're their last hope. And so that's what federal judges do. And there are laws that are federal laws, so those kind of cases come before us. And sometimes we actually hear state court cases. Now, the difference in the state court, and the easiest way to explain it is in criminal matters, is that the state court handles like a lot of the street crime, murder, rape, robbery, that kind of thing. Federal court, more like political corruption, securities violations, other kinds of things. And in state court, the big difference between the judges is most state court judges have to run for office. So you will see their election campaign. You'll see their faces on banners. We don't have to do that because once the Senate votes us out, the full Senate, the majority of the Senate votes us out, we have positions for life. So we never have to run for office. Most state court judges run the first time. They have a term, maybe 8 or 10 years, and then they have to get, the voters have to agree for another term. But that's a big difference. And they handle like divorce court, custody court, just a whole range of cases. And in fact, most of the cases in this country are tried by the state court judges. They handle hundreds of thousands of cases. We handle maybe 5% of the cases they handle. So that's an explanation.